I can't even tell, Mr. Scrawny Neck says. He bends down and reaches for the knit cap I have pulled down over my face. I made it myself. With only 2 eye holes to see out of, the dark yarn covers my entire face and neck. I inch my hand towards my pocket. Maybe those scissors can get me out of one last scrape. He yanks the cap off, and the cold air stings my sweaty face. "That's gotta be her," the weasel says. "Who else is gonna break into the textile mill again?" Shit. I should have waited longer between raids. I hit the same factory in March when spring was nowhere in sight and the little ones had worn out their winter clothes. Now, just a few months later, it's already cold again. Last time I was too greedy. I took 8 bolts of wool, plus blades and an entire crate of cotton thread, about $15,000 worth of materials. I was busy, had to recruit a lot of the little ones to help, but now almost every prole in the city is wearing one of my coats, or sleeping under one of my quilts, or wrapping their fingers in one of my gloves. Almost everyone got properly outfitted that long winter. I didn't need to hit up this factory again so soon. But I did. A few weeks ago, when I was doing my rounds, I smelled the lanolin in the air and knew they were spinning inside the factory. After spinning comes the weaving, and I knew it would only be a matter of time before the bolts of wool were ready. I just couldn't help myself. And here I am, on the cold ground, 2 constables turning my insides to mashed potatoes. "What a catch," Scrawny Neck says. He's the younger of the 2. "You owe a lot of money to a lot of people. Factory owners, dressmakers, tailors." "They're thieves," I spit. "The clothiers of the city only produce for the wealthy. Why toil away making 50 reasonably priced coats that the proles can afford when you could just make 1 coat for some rich bastard? They're lazy. They're greedy. They deserve to be burgled." "They're thieves?" Weasel says, letting out a cruel laugh. "You, with 1 foot inside the factory and an empty rucksack over your shoulder, call the honest merchants of this city thieves?" "Yes," I say. Weasel punctuates the end of my sentence for me with his boot. "This bitch is Arachne," Scrawny Neck says. He holds my knit cap inside out, the little white tag on display for Weasel to behold. Pride, my other sin. Nothing but vainglory makes me add those labels to my work. It takes extra effort, to be sure. Pride goeth before the fall. Isn't that what the brothers and sisters always preach? "Looks like you're the one caught in the web now," Weasel says. He puts his boot on my neck, and he's not afraid to really lean into it. He takes a knee, still keeping his foot on my neck, pressing harder, narrowing my windpipe. I breathe slowly, deeply, controlled. I won't let him see how he's hurting me. I am in control, I try to tell myself. I'm always in control. He's bent before my face, turned at an odd downward angle. I could probably get my scissors out and into the nice meaty flesh of his thigh. But then what? Best to think these things through. He fists the collar of my coat and peers down, looking for the tag. "Yep," he says, "Arachne." I stitch a little spider on a scrap of white cotton and sew it into the hem of every garment I make. Vainglory, pride. And now goeth the fall. "Who'd have thought this little girl was responsible for so much trouble?" Weasel says. "You quietly steal more than the big brash kids who mug decent folk on the streets, or the syndicates who run the streets." "Because they're fools," I say. And they are. The petty gangs and organized syndicates sell alcohol and sex. Those things always sell, to be sure, but to a relatively limited audience. But a warm pair of trousers and thick coat, that's something that everyone needs. Winter comes for us all. "Maybe," the Weasel says. He grinds his boot left to right like he's stomping on a particularly stubborn roach. I suppose, to his mind, he is.